Hey guys, Jnic here and welcome to another Author Time tutorial series where I show you guys the maps 16 to 20 and show you guys how to get those author times going. But first off, I want to say that the maps have gotten harder, but you should also be better at the game if you're at this stage in the game. This means I assume that you know the basics of the game like SDing and no sliding, so I won't go through any of those things in the videos. And also, I will not go over the maps in detail. I will go over the highlights of the maps, because the maps are pretty self-explanatory. So I will instead point out the points of interest for you guys. Also, a quick side note is that I wanted to add a more obvious cursor for you guys to see, but I couldn't find any that worked well. So if you guys can maybe help me with that. I didn't really want to do like a third-party download for that kind of thing. Also, last thing is, or extra side note, is that you guys can race against my my ghosts if you want to. In the description there's a key, my streamer key, that you can use to race against my ghost. A disclaimer is that those ghosts are my personal best ghosts, and this is not a personal best. None of my ghosts that I'm showing you guys tonight are going to be my personal best ghosts. They were just made for the purposes of the video. But you guys are more than welcome to race against my ghost in the game and steal some of my lines if that's what you want to do. Also, extra side note is that I'm not using a camera tonight because my room is messy and I'm not about to clean it up. We have now watched this replay like 3 times. Let's just start the video. So let's just go. Map 16. As always, we're gonna watch the maps in half speed. So you guys, I have a longer time to explain it, everything like that. So I'm not gonna go through all the detailed parts of the map. Now, this is just a tight drift that I do. The important part is right here. You can see that I'm about to gear up, okay? In this downhill, you want to make sure that you don't drift. You can see the skid marks. You don't drift while you're gearing up. There, I geared up right here, but I'm also not sliding anymore. I'm driving straight. So make sure you drive straight while you actually gear up, otherwise you're gonna lose a bunch of speed. Now, after I gear up, I have some time to actually start turning and sliding a little bit. When I'm sliding a little bit on grass, remember that's the SDs. Now I'm about to gear up again, so I make sure not to turn while I do it, okay? So here, once more. You gear up while not turning, and then you turn a little bit, and then you gear up again, okay? That's how it works. Now I understand that this number didn't change, but it's because the replay editor is fucking stupid. Okay, so let's do it again. Geared up, sliding a little bit, stopping, gearing up again, okay? Now, just another drift. You want to go pretty tight here. Try not to lose a bunch of speed. Now here for this turn, what I do, well, personally I drift a little bit there, but that doesn't matter. Here, what you want to do for the author time is you just want to release a little bit. You want to release while you do this turn, because otherwise you're going to hit these pillars. So just release while you're on the grass to do the turn. Don't release fully, just tap the release and accelerator, just tap it so that you enter this checkpoint nicely, okay? And then this turn is also really important. You want to enter this turn really high up here, okay? Because you want to get as much speed through this turn as possible. So you can see here, I do a small drift, but I enter pretty high up. I do a small drift, and then I go and gain as much speed as possible, okay? So the less of a drift you do here to get this turn, you can obviously do it better than what I'm doing here, but this was just to show you guys. The more speed you gain here, the better, because that's going to accumulate through the entire track. So make sure you don't drift too much up here. Don't drift too much. Enter this turn very high up towards the pillars, not all the way up there, but pretty high up there, and then try to get as small of a drift here as possible, okay? Now that speed that we got from that turn is going to accumulate through the slalom part. You just want to drive it. It's not really that big of a deal. And then obviously jump over here. I do a small air brake just to land flat. And then I jump pretty high up this bank, okay? And then right here you can see I'm already starting to SD. From here to all the way over to the goal, I can SD this entire distance, okay? And you already know SDing gives you speed. Just don't do it while you gear up. But that's the entire map, so let's watch that in regular speed, okay? Okay, so we do a tight turn here in the beginning. We don't turn while we gear up. Very nice. We go for a tight drift. We release here. Okay. Go high up the wall and then do a small drift to get this turn, preserve the speed. And then we want to go high up this wall, and then we want to SD this line here. Okay, that's it. That's the entire map. You should get it. Let's go. Next one. Okay, let's go for the map 17. Let's just jump right into it. So here in the beginning, there's the first trick. There's a reaction boost. The first trick is here, obviously. What you want to do is here, right here, as my back wheels are about to leave this platform, you can see I'm starting to do the air brake. Now, this air brake is going to make it so that my car doesn't tilt. It's very important. Now, at this point in time, right here, I'm holding down brake and accelerate at the same time. You can see I hold down brake and accelerate, and then my car doesn't tilt. Then I let go of the brake right around here when I'm pretty like a meter above the platform. And that's gonna give me a huge swoop. Like, it's gonna give you a huge boost. Just practice it a little bit. I promise you, it's really not that hard. Just do it. Spend 5 minutes doing it in the beginning. Just keep resetting from the beginning, and just give it a few goes, and I'm sure you guys are gonna be able to do it. It's really not that hard. Okay, and then I release the brake right here. I get a really big boost, and then you want to do a drift and go pretty tight to this corner. It's fine. You can also go wide. It's not really the biggest deal. That boost really makes this author time a lot easier. Okay. So here, if you didn't catch it, I'm going for a line here where I turn already, and then I go very close to this corner up here. Okay. This is so I don't drift that much on the grass, and it's going to preserve your speed. Up here, all I do is I go for a tight line. I do release a little bit to go close to this corner. Like I said, guys, there's really not much to tell you guys about these maps. It's all about practicing them. Practice, practice, practice. Now, the jump you get here is pretty random. Whatever jump you get is fine. Now, I do a drift here, and I try to go close to this corner. Now, I didn't succeed in this replay, but this is fine also. But trying to go close there is good, because you get a good angle into this turn. Now here, this turn can be really hard for a lot of people, so I'm explaining what I do. What I do is I let go of the accelerator, and I drift. I press the brake button, and I drift pretty much all the way till I'm sure that I can enter this next turn right here without jumping. So my goal here is to have an angle where I drive over the white part here without having to jump. Because if I drive straight right now, my car is gonna jump, and it's gonna make me lose a bunch of speed. So my goal here is to get a drift that makes me have an angle out of the turn that lets me not jump. Okay? Here I do a small jump, and the reason I do a small jump after the turn, right here, I go for a jump to around this section, is because I can land in a drift, and I continue the drift to go close to this wall. And I just hold down the accelerator, and right here, right after you exit this icy platform, you want to do a small air brake. So right here, you want to do a small air brake, just quickly tap the brake, and it's going to give you a swoop down the rest of the map. Okay? And that's the entire map. So let's watch the replay in full speed. So you do the boost trick, you hold down the accelerator and the brake as you're about to leave this platform. Right here, when you're close to the second platform, not when you hit it. When you're close, when you're like a meter above the platform, you let go of the brake and you keep holding down the accelerator, and it's going to give you a boost. We do a drift. We try to avoid the grass. We get a good turn here. We don't drift too hard. We go close to this grass corner by releasing a little bit. This jump you can't really do anything about. It's just a jump. It's fine. And we drift this corner, try to get a good angle into the sausage block. Remember, the whole point of this sausage block is to exit this turn with an angle to make you not fly. Okay? And then we do a small drift here in the ending, go close to the wall, and then just jump into the finish while doing the boost trick there at the ending. That's all for this map. Let's go to the next one. And here we are on map 18. Now let's just jump right into it at half speed. Now the very first trick is here in the beginning, right there. Right when you leave the platform, you want to do a very small, very fast air brake to make your car stop tilting. Okay, it's not gonna save you a huge amount of time, but it's gonna save you like 500s, if not a little bit more than that actually, maybe a tenth. Now, here I just jump straight down and angle my car in such a way that I enter this bobsleigh part smoothly. Okay, you do the bobsleigh. I only turn a little bit here. If you do a lot of turning on this ice part, you're gonna lose time. Okay, so I only do a little bit of turning, and I try to angle my car in this general direction. Okay, I do a jump, and I land with my wheels pointing forward. It's really important. If you land while drifting, you're gonna lose speed, and also it's gonna be really hard to recover. Now here, what you wanna do is you wanna do a smooth steer. You all know what a smooth steer is. What you want, it's very light. Just smooth steer very lightly. If you're on a keyboard, tap very fast. This is gonna be harder to do on a keyboard. That's just how it is. Okay, here's another trick that I do. You can see it already now. During this uphill, I hold down the brake and the accelerate at the same time. And it's also pretty important to say that if you get enough speed out of here, you're actually required to release. I do it right here. I release a little bit before this jump, but if you don't have the speed, don't worry about releasing just yet. Okay, you know you have to release if you hit the checkpoint. But here, I hold down the accelerate and the brake button at the same time, once again to stop my car's rotation while it's flying. So you can see my car is not pointing its nose downward. And because it's not doing that, the flames here, the booster is actually pushing me towards the checkpoint, and it's gonna give you some speed. So I'm holding down the brake and the accelerate pretty much all the way over to the checkpoint. The longer you can hold it down, the better, okay? Then there's this freewheel part. There's not much to say, just don't hit a wall. And then up here, I go all the way to the right side of the wall, and then I turn, and I also do a little bit of a release. I release the accelerator just a little bit to get a tighter line, okay? And the point is to go as close to this edge as possible. The closer you get, the better. Now for this wall ride, the reason you want to go close is exactly for this wall ride. You want to be as low on this wall ride as possible. The lower you are, the less airtime you're going to get. And that's going to increase your speed, because if you don't have airtime, you're going to accelerate more. Also, make sure you don't turn your car too much on the wall, because the more you turn, the more speed you're also going to lose, okay? So here you can see, here I'm going to get airtime. This is already too much. If you want a really good time, you don't want that airtime. Okay, here I try to turn a little bit, angle myself up to this wall. Now you're just going to have to get used to how to climb this wall. I can't really explain it. You're just gonna have to look at how I'm doing it here and try to replicate it. There's a lot of different ways to do it. You don't have to do it exactly like I did it. Just make sure you don't lose speed, okay? It's really not the end of the world. If you did the map, the beginning of the map like I showed you, this part of the map doesn't really matter. You're gonna get that author time anyway. Just make sure you don't crash. So let's watch it all back in real time. So we do the brake trick here in the beginning. We jump and line our car up for this wall ride, the bobsleigh. We don't turn too much here, we just angle our car in the right direction, and then we do a smooth steer here. I release a little bit, and then I hold down the accelerate and the brake to do that trick. Okay, we have a little bit of a freewheel section, and then I go as close to this corner as possible, try to go low on the wall, don't turn too much on the ice, and then you want to enter this bobsleigh without crashing. You're just going to have to practice that, and then it's just a smooth road into the finish. Let's go. Next map. And we have map 19. I'm sure a lot of you guys are going to have a hard time getting the author time on 19, but the truth is you're just going to have to practice a bunch, because it is a hard map. But of course, I'm going to go through it with you guys to try to tell you how to do this map a little bit better. Okay? So, first things first, you want to go tight to this corner, okay? Now, I go actually pretty wide here. You can go tighter than I do right here, but it's important you go tight. That's going to save you a bunch of time. Right here, I go tight to this wall. It's going to make me get a little bit of air time, but I land in a drift, and that makes me get a good angle into the next turn. Not much to explain here. I just drive the grass, try not to get air time. Here I enter this turn in a drift, and then I start my own drift. So I enter the turn in a drift, and afterwards I start my own drift, okay? I enter the turn in the drift, then I start my own drift. The purpose of this drift is to enter this turn better, go close to this corner, and I can do all that without letting go of the accelerator, okay? Now here, there's two options here, okay, right here. There's two options for this turn up here. The fastest way to do it is by starting a drift once you know, reach around this part. If you start a drift, that's the fastest way to do it. But another way you can do it if you're not totally comfortable with drifting this turn is to just release the gas, okay? The most important part is that you don't start flying. But in this example, I'm gonna drift. So I show you here, I start the drift, and I start the drift as to go really wide in this turn, but it makes me able to not let go of the accelerator and go tight to this corner and preserve a bunch of speed. Here, you're also just gonna have to learn how to do this slalom. Don't let go of the accelerator, just try to do this slalom section. This entire section is pretty hard. I do a drift, I go into the slalom section, everything without letting go of the accelerator. Then just left, right, left, right. You're just gonna have to get used to the car's motion here. Now here, I actually release the gas, and I try to go close to this wall. I release the gas for a pretty decent amount of time, and then I start accelerating again. Okay, so just what you have to take away from this is that I don't start drifting here. I just release, and I turn close to this wall, and then I start accelerating again. Just don't hit this outer wall, obviously, but that's the fastest way to do it. Then of course I jump out and I do an air brake. I tap the brake button so my car doesn't rotate. Now, the less of a drift you do here, obviously the more speed you're gonna preserve. I'm gonna let you guys figure out what line you want to do there. So there's multiple lines that are fine. Also, I drive up here without losing grip on the dirt. Here I go for an outside pole line, go close to the wall to preserve speed. The same goes for up here. I release a little bit to try not to get too much airtime here, but don't worry too much about it. Then it's just a hop, jump, and a skip to the goal. God damn it, I can't talk. Let's watch it all back in real time, okay? So, first turn. We go tight. We stay tight. We go very tight here as well. Sets us up for this turn. We want to maintain ground contact. Then we do a drift into this turn. Go close to this wall. Not wall, sorry. Grass. Here, two options. Either you release or you drift. I drift here. I hold down the accelerator. And then I release, do a tight turn, I accelerate again without touching the outer wall or the inner wall, jump with an air brake, and we do a turn, try to maintain ground contact, and go for an outside line, but still as wide as possible. As wide as possible to maintain the speed. And then just jump into the finish. Woo! This one takes a bit of practice, but I'm sure you guys can get it down. Next one. And here we have the final map of the video, map 20. Now this map is also a map that you guys are gonna have a hard time getting down, but it's just a bunch of practice. This map is a full dirt map. So it's all about checking your gears, making sure you SD where you can SD, okay? Now first things first, there's a small trick that I do here. I release a little bit of the accelerator, and then I jump from the right side of this platform to the left side of the platform that I land on. So you can see, I try to get as little airtime as possible, and that's why I drive from the right to the left side, because then I can keep more speed while still landing early. And then you want to actually take this turn really tight to that corner. That's the fastest way to do it, okay? So just take a tight turn right there. Again, not much to say. You want to touch the corner of this boost. Now here, this is actually pretty important. You wanna start turning pretty early, and you want to go close to this corner, and then you want to turn in such a way that you can, well, obviously not hit the boost, but or sorry, hit the corner of this reset block. But what you want to do is you want to turn in such a way that here you can see I counter steer. And I counter steer to make myself not drift anymore. You want to turn in such a way that you're able to counter steer and then do a no slide. Okay, so I no slide this. You can see I don't drift. I turn very, very slowly. I do a smooth steer and therefore I no slide. Now here it's important to notice that there's a gear here. If you do the no slide really well, you can gear up before you enter this turn. If you gear up before you enter that turn, try not to lose the gear by going wide. But if you don't gear up, or if you notice you're about to gear up inside of that turn, release a little bit, because you guys know if you gear up while you're turning, that's slower than releasing and then gearing up later. Okay, so try to make sure you keep an eye out for your gears. Okay, so I didn't gear up here, so I go for a little bit more of an inside line, and here I'm about to gear up, so I stop drifting, I drive straight, I gear up, and then I start turning again. Okay, let's see that real quick. I don't gear up here, I notice that I don't gear up, so I go for an inside line, and then make sure that I drive straight. You can see already right here, I start driving straight, and gear up, and then I go for a tight turn here. Okay, look, I go tight to this corner to go wide for the rest of the turn, so I can go tight once again over here, okay? Now for this last section, I notice that I'm about to gear up again, so I don't want to gear up while I turn, remember that. So I try not to turn, I gear up, and then because I just geared up, I can start SDing without having to worry about gearing up. So right here, I go for an outside line so I can drift all the way across here. And then you want to go in between this cactus and that light post. Just go tight to the checkpoint. And right here, there's a jump over to the finish. This jump you can release if you have enough speed. You should release a little bit before the jump to be able to land earlier on the downhill. The earlier that you land, the more time your car has to accelerate, and it will reach the goal or the finish a little sooner, okay? So I know that went really fast, my explanations, but truly, this map, let's watch it in high speed. This map is all about managing your gears and having good lines on dirt. And if you have trouble with that, try to play some of the dirt maps like other places. Like learn dirt from a different map than this one. But I am sure that you guys can get the auto medal here with the tricks that I told you. I release a little bit, try to land early. I go for a tight turn here, really tight, very nice. You want to hit the corner to boost. You want to turn and then counter steer so you can no slide this turn. Either you gear up or you don't, but make sure you manage your gears. Want to go tight here. Gear up and then start speed drifting. And then just go close inside there and release before the jump. And that's it. Let's go. Okay, I'm gonna replay this. So that's it for the video right now. I want to mention to you guys that you guys can use my streamer key that I have to play against my ghosts on all the maps. Bear in mind that the ghosts that you play against with my streamer key are my personal best times. None of the times that are shown in this video are my personal bests. They're just quick ghosts that I made for the video. But check out the streamer key, it's in the description. You can put it in the game. And you can race against my ghost even if you have the starter access of the game. With that being said, you know, let me know in the comments if you liked the video. Also, check me out on Twitch, link in the description, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.